Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial on your favorite YouTube channel, The Power of Excel. In this tutorial, we're going to take up another couple of functions in the datetime category, that is the EDATE function and the EOMONTH function. The EDATE function, as name suggests, returns the serial number of the date, which is a number of months, that is before or after from a given date. Whereas the EOMONTH function returns the serial number of the last date of the month, which is before or after a specified number of months. To demonstrate this, let us take up a small example here where some data regarding to a project is given to us. In this particular case, there's a project which has been divided into three different phases. And right now, the information which is given to us is the project phase 1 duration in months, that is 3 months. The project phase 2 start date, which is 28th of January 2023. And the project phase 2 duration, that is again given in months. So we are assuming that the phase 1 end is the beginning of phase 2. So that is the assumption here. And also, there is a difference between the phase 2 end date and the phase 3 start date, as the phase 3 start date is supposedly set to commence at the beginning of the subsequent month. So let us try and calculate all these values using the EDATE and the EOMONTH functions. So to calculate the project phase 1 start date, since this particular function, we can always go back. That is, if we have started as the current date, we can go back 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 7 months, 10 months, and so on and so forth. So that is the beauty of this particular function. So we'll use the project phase 2 start date, that is 28th of Jan 2023, and go back 3 months to calculate the project phase 1 start date. So let's use the EDATE function to calculate this. Start date would be 28th of January 2023, and months, since I'm going back, so I'll put it as minus. So minus, and then I'll select project phase 1 duration, that is in months. So once I click enter, I get the serial number for the project phase 1 start date. I just 44862, and if I want to get the date here, I can simply convert this to a short date format, which gives me 28th of October 2022. Now, similarly, in case I want to get the project phase 2 start end date, I can again make use of the EDATE function, and in this particular case, again, the start date would be the 28th of Jan 2023. And the project phase 2, since the duration is given in months, so I'll select this value 4. And since this is a positive value, so I'll get this value as 45074. And if I want to put it in the date format, I'll select the short date under the format group. Right? And then in case I want to calculate the project phase 3 start date, which I have assumed to be commencing at the beginning of the subsequent month. So what I'll do is I'll use the start date of phase 2 in my EOMONTH function. This is my start date, and number of months is 4. So since this particular value is going to give me the last date of the month, and my project phase 3 is starting on the first day of the subsequent month, I'll add 1 to this value. So this is 45078. This is the serial number. And again, if I want to put it in the date format, I'll select the short date under the format group, which gives me the 1st of June 2023. So that is a good example to explain how we make use of the EDATE function and the EOMONTH function. Now coming to the applications of these two functions. These two functions can be used to calculate the project completion dates whenever the project duration is in months is given to us. Also, when date calculations involves the use of the last date of the month, we can make use of the EOMONTH function. or when date calculations involves the use of the first date of the month, then we can again make use of the EOMONTH function as we have done in this particular example. Now coming to the alternatives for these two functions. So the number of months, in case it is given to us, can be converted to days by multiplying with 30, and then addition or subtraction can be performed subsequently. That is one way of doing it if we don't want to use the EDATE or the EOMONTH function. And subsequently, there is no specific alternative for EOMONTH functions because as such, as you can see, there is very limited utility or very limited scope of this particular function. So there are places where we can use these two functions, but as you might have seen in most of the examples or most of the tutorials which are available online, we don't see much of these two functions. But since they come under the daytime category, so we somehow had to cover these two functions. That is it as far as this tutorial is concerned. Now coming to the question of the week contest, which I had asked a few weeks back. So that question was, so what is that function which can be used to round off a value to a given number of decimal places? And also one can customize whether to have that numerical value in as comma separated value or not. So there, unfortunately, no one could answer that question correctly. And the answer to that question is the fixed function. So if you go to the fixed function, so there is an option of rounding any specific number to a given number of decimal places, and also customizing whether you want to have commas or not by putting it as a Boolean value, that is true or false. So that is it for this particular tutorial. Thank you so much for watching this. There is Ankit Mahindru signing off. Take care. Bye bye.